Jurassic World Evolution Site B mode is a little disappointing. Isla Nublar takes its role in this game, and there's numerous issues that stop it being the true sandbox Site B mode many of us may have been hoping for pre-release. It's not all bad, of course. The ability to cycle through different times of day and the ability to control the amount of disease, weather, or your dinosaur's propensity towards breaking out and chomping down on your guests is a welcome addition. But there's a few factors that stop it from being the fully controllable Site B mode I think a lot of us wanted. Most of these problems are related to existing in-game mechanics. Whilst in a main story playthrough it's not too annoying to have to keep your feeders replenished, when you're trying to build a dinosaur sanctuary as Site B was envisioned to be at the end of the Lost World Jurassic Park, needing both a ranger station and tons of feeders in the first place means extra buildings and human interaction that really ruin that experience a little bit. Similarly, the need for hatcheries to have paths and electricity. I mean, I understand why. Logically, buildings need electricity. That makes sense. But this is Site B, and limitations like this being hard and fast mean that it becomes nigh on impossible to run the park that you actually want. Likewise, the limitations on dinosaur aging, for example. Again, perfectly acceptable in a primary campaign, but incredibly frustrating when, say, building a park with all 48 species in, as I attempted to do recently, because by the end, your dinosaurs just die out anyway. There's a few others as well. Nublar is an okay sized island, but the fact that you really have to squeeze your dinosaurs in there to get just every dinosaur in the game in suggests it should be significantly larger. It's also a fairly odd shape, and the edges of the map have weird little ditches that you can't flatten, so you either have to have a low level map or a random chasm at the end of some of your exhibits. Likewise, the hills to the north. Finally, although we do have control over the weather to an extent, the inability to directly spawn the weather we want seems an odd choice. Multiple times, because I'm a madman, I've wanted to summon a tornado to test out my park or get some awesome screenshots, but instead I have to max out the weather bar and wait like 20 to 30 minutes for one to hit my park. There's simple, though not necessarily easy to implement, I understand, fixes for most of this. Firstly, dinosaurs desperately need the ability to feed without human intervention, or Nublar feeders should automatically replenish at the very least. Carnivores can gain food from herbivores, but the herbivores, despite having a grazing animation, rely solely on the feeders. Secondly, either hatcheries should no longer require both paths or electricity, and whilst we're on the topic, they should incubate dinosaurs instantly. Or we should have the ability to directly plop down our dinosaurs onto the island, much like past zoo games. The terrain tools as well need a little work in general. I think we've all experienced that pain, and generally speaking we just need more options. I like building on Nublar. It's where I plan to do most of my work in Evolution, but it's a limited mode compared to other freeform modes on not just zoo games but on tycoon games as well. I do doubt Nublar itself is ever going to be expanded, but what could happen, if we're a little bit optimistic, is the integration of the Sanctuary from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, this one right here. As you know, I only saw the film a few days ago, and my first thought in that scene was, well, that's kind of a Site C, right? Can we call it Site C? For those out of the loop, minor spoilers, the Lockwood group in Fallen Kingdom tells the DPG that they plan to take the Nublar dinosaurs over to some other unnamed sanctuary island where they'll be kept safe, kind of like what Isla Sorna was meant to be at the end of the Lost World. It's essentially a ringed island with a lake in the middle, naturally protected, so they say. Of course, that's not how it works out in the film, and there's actually a decent chance the island never existed in the first place, maybe, although Lockwood himself did mention it, so it probably does. But for the sake of argument anyway, let's just pretend the island is very much alive. Now, Site C is something that has been talked about for a long time. It doesn't exist in anything other than fanfiction. It's not referenced in the materials. But we started to run out of islands, and people naturally started to jump to the conclusion that maybe there could be a third island out there. The sanctuary would make a near-perfect island to build on, flanked by huge mountains. The space in the middle is roughly circular and seems to lack like huge crevices or hills. A round, large, flat piece of land that we can build on to our heart's content. I'm not really sure where this island is meant to be, but that doesn't really matter. We're off the islands now, we're away from the 5 deaths and Isla Nublar, and hell, heading properly to the mainland for the third film in the Jurassic World series. Evolution has the chance to do basically anything it wants now. We haven't heard anything about Frontier's future plans for Jurassic World Evolution quite yet, but given the game's absolutely astronomical sales, seriously check out the sales, it's incredible, I think it's likely we can expect some pretty good updates coming soon. Perhaps said sanctuary could even be folded into the main story, which, if we're honest, is a little disappointing at the moment. Isla Nublar is unlocked by 4 starring Matt and Seros, but this large and totally freeform Site B should be held back until later in the game, perhaps requiring completion of some of those endgame missions on Isla Sorna. instead of the game sort of just ending, as it does, Claire could appear and mention how Isla Nublar is now due to explode, something that fits the timeline of the game, and that they've had to locate a new area for us to build on, Fallen Kingdom's Sanctuary. I found it odd how the impending explosion on Nublar and basically the entire story of Fallen Kingdom has gone pretty much ignored in Jurassic World Evolution, other than some nods towards weaponized dinosaurs, and I would not be at all surprised to see future updates bring in more of that storyline. It'd be a bit weird to maybe have 2 Site Bs in the game, but giving us more options could not possibly be a bad thing. Either way, I want more control and more power. I want a dinosaur sanctuary. It's a weird contrast at the moment to JPOG Site B, where you weren't even given the option of building so many of the buildings in the game, because it was about the dinosaurs living out in this island. All you have to do is build hatcheries, that's it, nothing else. And this one, wherein you're absolutely forced to build multiple different buildings or your dinosaurs will just eventually die. I hope it's on the cards, though admittedly there's a few other things I want that we'll talk about soon, namely attractions, decorations, skins, stuff like that. New dinosaurs actually are oddly very, very low on my list. I don't think we need them right now. I think it's time to upgrade the base game first. Either way, folks, let me know your thoughts down below. What would make the perfect Site B for you in Jurassic World Evolution? Is there anything else you'd like to be able to do on it that I've missed in this video? I'd love to hear some opinions, so leave some comments, and if you're feeling generous and lovely, hit that like button as well. Thanks for joining me as always. If there's a topic you want to hear me cover on Jurassic World Evolution or on anything, then feel free to let me know, and I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers, much love, and as always, bye-bye. Quick little shout out at the end, this video and others like it would not be possible at all without the support of you guys watching me at home, and also everyone on this Patreon page right here who supported me in the last month. If you want to help out as well, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. Every little really helps. Cheers.